over. Christianity in America is dead. Christianity in America is dead. I'm going to say it a third time. Christianity in America is dead. Donald Trump did a fatality move on the entire Christian movement. Now, before we continue, a little bit of context. And yes, I look sweaty. I just did my 3 miles, three plus miles, and I'm not actually done yet. I'm gonna do some more when I'm done. But I'm done on the track, so I'm about to do my walk home. You can see people out here getting it in. Anyway, before I start, let's start with some context. So I came from a highly religious home. My father was a pastor, and he was pretty much very religious his entire life. Religious parents. I think he got saved, I would assume, as a teenager. And then he started preaching, I'm going to guess young adult, maybe 27. I remember when I was in elementary school, he would join a church that was close to one of the local projects and low-income housing. And the church was like, you know, like how in the project they'll have like a main central, like I don't know what you call it, complex. It's a paved central area. It might have some kind of a, you know, roof type of structure type of thing, some benches or whatever. Anyway, they set up like a tent there, I guess, and then that was the church. So I've been in the church my entire life. I haven't been I haven't been going to church for a very, very long time now. But you know, my father was raised in a church. He was heavy religious his entire life. He's now in his 80s, still preaching. He married to a woman who highly religious. She was like the church pianist. My mother died. She was also the church pianist. So my father's got he's got something for people that play the piano in church, apparently, because he married someone else who plays the piano. But she came from a high religious family. His wife and their family are from the Bible Belt, so super mega religious. In fact, the place where she's from is also a very racist area. It's known for KKK chapters. And ironically, my father, whose skin is very, very dark brown, he decided to retire in that very religious Bible Belt area that is so racist that the town that he's in, I believe, was a sundown town. So you can't make this stuff up. So anyway, deep religious. I was saved myself as a teenager. Again, I'm not religious anymore, but I just want to give the context, right? I am a product of the church. I would say, if I could describe the denomination or whatever, I guess some version of like a Baptist type of church. And why I say that Christianity is dead in America is based on, hey, Danny, good to see you, man. Guess you've heard about the Gnostics. They believe that the Old Testament God was a false God. Kind of makes sense because that God contradicts teachings of Christ. So listen, this is why I say Christianity is dead in America. In one word, Trump. Anyone who's truly a Christian and really follows the Bible would instantly recognize Donald Trump as the Antichrist. If you look in the Bible and see how they describe the Antichrist, I mean, it might as well say somebody who walks around saying their favorite Bible verse is 2 Corinthians, who holds a Bible upside down in a photo, who's like sleeping with porn stars and cheating on his wife while she's pregnant, and, you know, super corrupt, lies every day. And that's the thing. Someone might say, well, okay, he did a lot of stuff with porn stars and whatever. That was when he was younger or whatever. Now he's changed. The dude lies every day and unnecessarily. It's not even like, you know, we're human. You got caught up in something and you know, you don't want to take the consequences, so you make up some kind of a white lie or whatever. You know, you forgot somebody's birthday and then you make up some excuse. No, I'm talking about just frivolously. He just lies and lies and lies and lies and lies. This is very anti-Christian, very against what the Bible teaches us. And every single corner that these people try to hide in to justify what they're doing, it doesn't hold up, man. Because one of the things they would say is, you know, he's an instrument of God, right? So the idea would be, you know, he may not be the best person, he may have done sin, and for all of sin and comes short of the glory of God, right? Anyway, but here's the problem with that. Let's accept that as truth. Let's believe in God as they believe and as written in the Bible. And let's believe that God is working in mysterious ways through this man who has certainly sinned, as of all of us, right? But through him, his works are being manifested, right? So for example, people were killing babies, right? That's what they would say. And he's now saving those precious babies, which would be, you know, God's children, right? Here's the problem with that. So, assuming that that's true, and God is using this Antichrist to do these things that are, you know, that are actually godly, saving the babies, right, whatever, that doesn't justify the church not being one of the biggest enemies of Donald Trump in terms of. So in that world, let's manufacture the world where, you know, God is real, and he's using Trump to do these good things, to stop these you know, Democrat pedos and whatever stuff that he's putting an end to, right? He's saving the children from the, you know, them turning into trans and whatever it is that they say. That's what he's doing, right? Okay. In that same world, the church would be thanking God for, you know, bringing about these, in their minds, good things, right? But in the same token, they would be following what the Bible says, right? And calling out his evil, you know, nature, his lies, his deception, his corruption, right? So it's not like, it's like two things can be true, right? It's not like, because, let's just focus on one thing. Let's say you focus on the abortion thing, or because he's saving babies, now, no matter what he does, it's okay. So he could literally go around and both save babies and kill babies at the same time. Like, let's say he's stopping the abortions, but then he's also literally like killing like 2-year-olds, and he's like shooting them. But it's like, we're not gonna complain about that because he's stopping the abortion, and that's fine. That's too much on the nose. So let me do something else. So let's say he's saving these babies through stopping abortion, right, or helping stopping abortion, right? Because he didn't directly stop abortion, right? He helped pave that way. So he's doing that, and since he's doing that, he can, on the other hand, be going after the churches and shutting them down. He attacks all the churches for no reason. He takes away their tax benefits, and he does a lot of really bad things to the churches. And the churches sit by and they let him do it because he's saving them. That doesn't work that way, right? It's like, actually, literally, my sister had a situation like that. She gave her son a task to do. He's supposed to clean the bathroom, right? So he goes and he cleans the bathroom, and that was good. He did what he was told to do, right? But then later on, he's throwing a ball against the glass window, right? And she gets upset with him, and now he's upset with her because he's like, didn't I clean the bathroom? It's like, bro, I can both appreciate that you cleaned the bathroom as you were told, and at the same time be like, what the hell are you doing throwing a ball on the window? Like, just because you did one good thing doesn't mean I'm going to ignore everything else. Just because Trump is doing things that in your mind as a religious person you believe that these are good things doesn't mean that you stay silent while he is lying and being cruel and being a savage person, being a corrupt person, you know, using the government to enrich himself, taking, you know, the private jet gifts from other, I mean, so much stuff that he's doing, the meme coin. Every day he's doing some insanity. If these churches were genuine, they would be his biggest enemy, right? They would, on one hand, be praying and thanking God for using Trump to save babies and whatever else. On the other hand, they would be doing their calling and speaking out against evil, speaking out against corruption, speaking out against a man who seems to be, in some ways, based on their religion, very demonic, right? Like, you can do both, right? Because since I have integrity and I'm real, like, because I think that Christianity in America is not real. It's a fake thing. It's basically a scam at this point based on their behavior. But because I'm not a scam, I'm genuine. If I was also, you know, on the same page with stopping abortion because I think they're killing babies and whatever else that Trump has done that they like, maybe keep the immigrants out because they're taking a job, whatever. Even if I enjoyed those things, I would be one of Trump's biggest enemies, right? When he did that stuff that I like, I would be like, thank you, Trump, for doing this great stuff. Thank you for saving the children. Thank you for sealing up our borders. Good job. Thank you. We've been waiting for this for so long, 4 years. Biden had the borders open. That would be me thanking Trump for all the good work he's doing. But on the same token, every single time he does some BS, lies, corruption, I would be ripping him to pieces because I actually stand for something, right? I actually have values. I have integrity, right? I don't care how many good things you do. If you're also doing corruption, I'm going to thank you for the good things and I'm going to rip you to shreds when you do corruption, right? Same way like I do for Joe Biden, right? Joe Biden, not a fan, but I do recognize some things that he did that I think were good things, like the student loan forgiveness thing, which apparently when he does it was bad, but now when Trump does it to recruit ICE people, it's fine and nobody, see again, no integrity. No integrity, they don't stand for anything, right? Everything they make noise about, they don't really care about, right? Trump does college forgiveness, oh, it's great, he's doing it to save the border, so it's okay. Biden does the same thing. Oh, this is fascism and whatever. Like, it's BS, right? When Biden was president and he did good things like forgiveness of student loan, I said, great, this is awesome. I literally saw my best friend, his life turned around because of the student loan forgiveness. He was struggling with debt, struggling to survive. And this was a major leg up for the first time in his life. I think he saved up to $20,000. This is a guy that has never saved up any money, right? Because he's had these lower income jobs. And then he had this student loan debt that's been incrementing. He's paying it and it's going higher and higher. So it's not even like he didn't pay. He got something, he didn't pay for it. He more than paid for it, right? Because they keep adding interest. So the balance keeps growing and growing and growing instead of going down, right? So he's probably paid that thing off a long time ago, but yet he's still paying all this interest so that these banks can just profit more and more and more, right? And Biden helped him out, right? But Biden was also a fraud on Gaza. Biden was also a fraud on talking about he's going to bring the wages down. He doesn't really fight for it, right? So when Biden does nonsense, right, I rip him to shreds. You're a liar, you're a fraud, whatever. Whenever he does something good, I'm like, okay, this is great, right? That's how I would be with anyone. But these religious people in this country, the Christian movement in this country, they're happy to be thankful for him saving the babies, but quiet about when he does evil things. Things of, again, I'm coming from a Christian home, things of Satan. When Trump behaves like Satan, like as if he's a demon, as if he's an antichrist, this should be stuff that just enrages the churches, right? They should absolutely be enraged. You see churches preaching out and calling out other churches that are supporting this guy, right? And saying, listen, we want to save the children. We don't believe in abortion. Whoever stops the abortion, we would thank you for it, whether it's Biden or whether it's Trump. But we also stand for truth and integrity. And whoever is not of truth, we are going to call you out. The same way we go after supposedly pedophiles. Meanwhile, when pedophiles are in the Catholic Church, we protect them. But anyway, the same way we go after, the music industry, all this over-sexualization of women, and this is ungodly, and this is evil, and all this curse words everywhere, and the music is talking about such debauchery or whatever it is, right? The same way you go after that, you would also be saying Trump is such an evil person. He's such a satanic person. He is such an embarrassment to the country. You think to yourself, as Christians, our children, we're trying to teach them about having honesty and integrity and having character. Meanwhile, the president of the United States, which they have to look up to as a child, as this is somebody to look up to, and this represents, how you should be. And yet, they're okay with that, right? They are angry about music talking about, evil things that are against what the Bible preaches. But Trump doing the same things, no problem. This guy literally did a speech and he's doing like a jerking off motion. And this is something that's not like in an adult thing. There were probably kids at that event. This thing is a broadcast on TV for children to see, right? Where were the churches outraged and saying this is satanic, this is evil, this is just debauchery, this is just disgusting? Where was that, right? Now, if an artist, a musical artist, goes and they could sing a song that's like perfectly fine, right? Not a big deal in any of the lyrics, but maybe at the end, they end the song and they're like, yeah, guys, and they do like this thing. And I could see the churches going crazy just for that one thing. Trump does it. Oh, he's a man. He's God's instrument or whatever it is. And like what? So at this point, I think it's safe to say, as the son of a preacher, that the Christian movement is dead. It's absolutely dead, right? There's a lot of churches in this country, a lot of churches, and they have a lot of power. They could do a lot of things to stop Trump from his corruption, but they choose not to. They are silently enjoying their tax benefits, right? The pastors are silently getting rich off of all those tithes that they're getting paid from these people, and a lot of them very poor people, right? The mega churches are buying multiple jets, right? So the churches are doing their thing, living it up. Meanwhile, silent about how this country is just becoming very, very dark. We are headed away from God. In fact, look at how many people in Trump's administration are basically embarrassing the Christian movement. You have people like the press secretary walking around with crosses, talking about Jesus this and Jesus that. A lot of them talking about Jesus. And these are high profile people that have a lot of visibility, that are making Christianity look bad because people are looking. Like, let's say somebody who you might want to save and bring, to Christ or whatever it is. And they look at these people who are in our government who keep saying Christian this and Jesus that and whatever. You got Mike Johnson or whatever. And then every day they're lying, they're corrupt. And the churches aren't offended by this. They're not bothered by this. They're not like, this is ridiculous. These people are not of Christ. They're using Christ for their political, whatever it is, blah, blah, blah. They don't care. The fact that Trump's biggest enemy is not the church says that the church in America is dead. I'm going to end the live stream. Go get my protein hit. Danny says giving tax cuts to the rich is also anti-Christian. Again, I tell you, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to enter the kingdom of God. I'm sorry to say it, man. My mother potentially died believing that she was going to heaven. And if anybody was worthy of going to heaven, certainly she was. And I'm not saying that just because I'm her son. But she actually, unlike these people, she actually followed the Bible, right? Obviously not literally every single thing, but I think it's very difficult to, in good faith, be more of a Christian than she was. I mean, I don't think I've ever remember her lying to me or anyone. She was very empathetic. She was good to people. Just a very good person, very great character. And again, I know, like, hey, I'm the son saying this, but listen, the same son who's saying that, I can tell you, although my father also had very good character, and a lot of what I described for my mother, he had as well, he has been dishonest. And ironically, this should tell you something. The very rare exceptions where my father is being dishonest, it's when he's defending his religious beliefs. Let that sink in for a moment. My father, who, I mean, he would probably make the average person that goes to church and claims Christ look like they don't even go to church. They would look like the ultimate sinner in comparison to my father. I mean, no cursing, no lying, unless he's defending his religious. I mean, he was honest with people, empathy. Even the way he dressed, you always make sure he was well dressed and everything. Good morning, good afternoon, how are you doing? Just polite, respectful, very dignified, an absolute gentleman was my father. But when challenged on his religious beliefs, that's when, when he ends up sort of cornered and doesn't have any way to go. He has lied to save to defend his beliefs, but that's the one exception. Otherwise, he's always been honest with me. I've never seen him dishonest with anybody else. I mean, even to say like little white lies and stuff, that's not him. He wouldn't be breaking the speed limit. He follows the speed limit. He's that kind of guy, like real like, kind of, uptight, kind of follow the rules type of guy was my father. But the people that I see in administration, the people online, look at Officer Tatum with Jesus tattooed all over his arm, and there's problems with that. If you follow the Bible, what the Bible says, there's some issues with having Jesus' name written on your skin like that. But anyway, and there's even problems with the symbology of the cross, right? Because the Bible talks about, I don't remember, it's been so long, but there's stuff about like symbols and things like that. So I think even the wearing a cross is not necessarily following what the Bible says, but everybody has their own interpretation, right? So anyway, bottom line is Christianity is dead. It doesn't exist, not a real thing. The only thing that it really amounts to at this point is a bunch of social clubs, which does have some advantage. I always liked in the church, we would have like get-togethers on Thanksgiving, and we might do a picnic, or we'd do like a beach outing and things like that. That stuff is great, like as far as the community or whatever. But to me, that's all there is. The stuff that they're reading in the Bible, I mean, there's some good stuff in there. They talk about like being honest or whatever, but they don't follow it though. They don't follow it. Like, it's just, anyway. I'm gonna end on this. My father, the super religious, very Christian guy, really followed his beliefs. He once said something to me that I'll never forget. He said to me, as a person who at that time was not religious at all, he said to me that I am more honest than the people in the church. And just so we know, as churches go, my father's church was one of the better ones, right? This was, well, I shouldn't say better ones. If you're judging a church based on how they follow Jesus' teachings and what's in the Bible, then my father's church was definitely doing a pretty good job for the most part, right? I mean, they were very, very religious, very, very strict. No jewelry, no earrings, no cursing, no swearing, no worldly music, so like hip hop and stuff like that, rock and roll, that's like devil music, or so they were hardcore, right? Think about that for a second. This is a church that is way closer to the teachings of the Bible than I would say the average church, which today they get very, very loose. Like, you actually go to a church and they'll play like hip hop music, but they have the word, God in there or whatever. Again, my father's church was so strict that they don't even want to have like the drum beat, right? The drum beat of like a hip hop or rock. They don't even want that because it's too close to, or too much association with what they believe was satanic or demonic or whatever it is, right? That church is the church my father said to me, as a person who was not religious at the time. He says to me, I was more honest than his church. And think about that, means a lot, because he's the pastor, so he knows more about the people in the church than most people would, right? Because they're going to share stuff with him in confidence, right? So he knows stuff, right? People dealing with family issues, like maybe there was someone in the church who's dealing with somebody infidelity, and nobody knows about it. They're not sharing that, but they might share it with my father. So when he says to me that I'm more honest than the people in his church, and the church is that religious, that hardcore, that old school, that's just to tell you how bad things are with the Christian movement in this country. And I'm talking about, when he said that was probably like early 2000s. So if that's how it was for one of the better churches in the 2000s, What do you think is happening now? You know what's happening right now. Look at Trump's press secretary. Anyway, on that note, I'm out. This is the Debate Me channel. Debate Me comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.